Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Vani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Monday, July 22nd. We await the opening bell this morning after a drop in markets on Friday and after news broke this weekend that President Joe Biden was dropping out of the 2024 presidential race. Back to the numbers, during regular trading on Friday, the Dow gave up 377 points, or nearly 1%. The S&P 500 shed 39 points, or about 0.75%. The Nasdaq lost 144 points, or 0.8%. Bill, let's get into a new week with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes. Good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're up 0.61%, 0.6%. That's a positive bounce back. I mean, listen, market's bouncing back from Friday's sell-off. I don't know if it's going to be able to hold. It really depends on the earnings that are coming out, but we are seeing a bounce back from Friday's big sell-off, so that's positive. CrowdStrike, listen, still weak, down over 4% this morning. Downgrades are starting to flow in, and the airline sector is also weak because, they canceled thousands of flights over the weekend. So, that's kind of be expected. Listen, the big news obviously is Biden saying that he's dropping out of the presidential race. And this is going to be a major talking point on all the cable news networks. They're going to be talking it up. There's going to be a lot written about it. You're going to be hearing about the Trump trade. Don't get crazy about it. I mean, the fact of the matter is we do not have political instability here in this country at this point in time. So it's all projection. It's not fact. This is, they're using airtime because they need to fill. So I'm not biting on, any concerns about the election just yet. I think it's way too early, and there's still a long way to go between now and the November elections. Because markets are focused on earnings. They're focused on earnings. We've got a lot of big earnings coming out this week, and plus we get that CPI data coming out on Friday. This is the key to the markets this week that we need to be watching for. One big news event that happened overnight really is China. China, introduced some stimulus. They lowered one of their interest rates. It was minor, but it's unlikely to have a major impact, but it was still slight stimulus. So that's got to be looked at as a positive. In Europe, hey, markets are higher. We're seeing positive action, in a lot of the stocks. We're looking at the DAX this morning. The DAX is up 253 points, or 1.4%. You're looking at the FTSE up 65 points, or 0.81%. You're looking at the CAC up 102 points, or 1.36%. I mean, listen, we're seeing, positive action in autos, industrials, tech, and healthcare, which is all good. Then we're looking last night in Asia, and we're seeing some mixed action. Like the Nikkei dropped 464 points, or 1.16%. The Nikkei is a little bit different. Yeah, it did sell off because of Friday's sell-off with the U.S. markets, but it's also, they got that Bank of Japan meeting that's happening next week, and there is concern because they're the talk of tightening is really concerning those markets. But you look at Hong Kong. Hong Kong rose 218 points, or 1.25%. Chinese internet stocks are rallying this morning. The fact that they're going to be doing some stimulus was good. The Shanghai market, they didn't feel it was enough. I mean, they fell 18 points, or 0.61%. But we're keeping an eye on oil this morning. Oil is trading lower. I mean, Friday dropped 3% this morning. Oil is continuing to fall. You got WTI at $79.62 a barrel, whereas in Brent's at $82.20 a barrel. That's over 0.5% drop this morning. I mean, there's weakness. There's concern about China not doing enough. That interest rate cut, was very small. And the question is, did they do enough to support their real estate sector? And then there are these Canadian wildfires, which are described as, being close to the oil sand production sites. So, that's has oil price a little concerned. So I still see a lot of bullish factors in oil. But we are showing weakness in oil this morning, down over 0.5% this morning. But that's what I have for you in terms of an oil market, in terms of a market update this morning, Emily.
Bill, no shortage of things to be following along this morning. Everything from the, the news following President Biden, the political news, also things like what's happening post that outage on Friday, that major IT outage. We're still watching other types of news, things like earnings action, economic events, and other headlines. We're keeping a pulse on all of it right here on NewsWare's Trade Talk because we have NewsWare, and we're being able to follow all of this information as we start a new trading week. We're in the thick of sort of, major earnings. So let's get to that first. Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings action today?
Well, Truist Financial, that's ticker TFC, Tom, Frank, Charlie, they beat by 9 cents. Stocks trading off about 1%. Verizon, they met expectations and they did it on lower revenue. That stock's down 3.34%. I didn't like Verizon going into the earnings this morning. I just it's really a utility stock. And then upcoming this afternoon, you've got NXPI, Nancy X-Ray, Paul India. Their EPS is $3.20. Expected move is 7.17%. Tomorrow morning, you got Coca-Cola, ticker KO, Kilo Oscar. Their EPS is 80 cents. Expected move is 2.37%. And UPS also is releasing tomorrow morning. Their EPS is $1.98 with an expected move of 5.75% when they release, Emily.
And Bill, you're going to be keeping track of all of that. You're also looking at economic events today and throughout the week. We're starting off slow here, but that's okay because there seems to be plenty of other news happening. But what is going on in terms of economic events today?
Oh, you're 8:30 a.m. Chicago Fed National Activity Index. That's really the big one, major one that I see. It's the only one out there. It's not a major report. The PCE report is coming Friday. That's a key inflation indicator. That's going to be very important when that comes out. You're not going to get any Fed speak this week because they're on their blackout period. But the narrative from the Fed over the last few weeks has really been dovish. So you're going to see a dovish commentary when they talk about when they announce their policy statement next Wednesday, a week from this Wednesday. Markets will start to gear up for that after the CPI report on Friday. But that's all I have for you in terms of an economic update this morning, Emily.
And Bill, I did mention you're still keeping track of other market moving headlines. You're following things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, other catalysts. You're looking at your NewsWare with your FANG stocks grouped together, your Dow 30 stocks grouped together. And, as we heard in that opening, no shortage of things to be following. And you're doing that and breaking it down for us as you do every morning. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I get 26 higher, 4 lower. I'm looking at my FANG stocks, and I'm seeing gains across the board on all the FANG stocks. Up, almost all of them are up over 1%. So that's very positive going into today. The airline sector is weak, though. We're seeing losses across the board on the airline stocks, and you do that many, you do thousands of flight cancellations over the weekend. Yeah, that's going to happen. That's the net result. Some of the news behind the tape, Apple, it's up 1.22% this morning. That guy Eddie Q, he's key figure over at Apple. He's pushing these TV and studio chiefs to put more pressure over their budgets. Apple needs to change their reputation as the biggest spender in town, and that's Apple's. They're trying to get into TV. They're new on TV. They have a lot of cash. They're spending too much money. They got to rein in that spending. And Eddie Q is the guy everyone listens to over there. Netflix. Netflix is it's only up $2 or half of 1%. But I see the price targets coming in. Broker reports coming in, and they're positive. They're increasing price targets on Netflix. We can see additional gains in that stock this morning. I wouldn't be surprised if it approaches 650 this morning. Tesla, earnings are out tomorrow on Tesla. One of the things that I've been reading about is like Democrats are no longer buying Teslas after Musk's pledge of support to Donald Trump. Musk is not, needs to kind of rein that in. Established companies don't really go out on a limb and support either candidate. They typically give to both candidates because they want to be able to, claim neutrality or, victory if one wins. But you're looking at Tesla. This morning stock's up 1.42%. Looks good for Tesla. We're talking Dow Jones 30 stocks. We're talking Boeing, ticker BA. We're seeing some gains of 0.6% in Boeing this morning. Korean Air, they're going to be buying up to 50 wide bodies. European carrier Luxair placed an order for two 737-10 planes with options for two more. Boeing expects 787 suppliers to catch up by year's end. That's positive. Talking Honeywell, ticker HON, they were selected by United Airlines to provide a wide array of cockpit technologies for the new 737 MAX aircraft. And, we want to just talk about Microsoft for a second. Microsoft is showing a gain this morning. It's up to 0.74% this morning. Tech outage was not a Microsoft issue, but it may raise some concerns about the wide use of its operating system. You just got to play that. But, Microsoft right now is being driven by AI, and, that's why you're seeing all these big gains in Microsoft stocks so far this year. In terms of merger news, VSTO, Victor, Sam, Tom, Oscar, they increased their purchase price from CSG for the Kinetic Group to $2.15 billion. That's pretty good. And in terms of guidance, I see Verizon reaffirms their 2024 guidance view of $4.50 to $4.70. Street estimates $4.58 in the middle. Okay, not great, not good. Stocks down 4% this morning in the pre-market. V's Outdoors, ticker VSTO, the ACQ1 revenue coming in 272 million, 276 million. Street estimate is pretty high, 274. So yeah, that's a little concerning. Let's talk about shareholder events going on this morning. Turex, ticker TEX, Tom Edward X-Ray, they're having a shareholders meeting about their recent acquisition. It's going to happen this morning at 8:30. Ticker DQ, David Quinton, Diaco, New Energy, they announced a 100 million share repurchasing plan. Now, in terms of catalyst calls, NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, Citibank opened up a positive 30-day catalyst watch on NVIDIA, into their SIGGRAPH conference, 2024 conference. But they also opened up a 30-day negative catalyst watch on Micron, although they do have a buy rating on Micron, ticker MU. And the APLS, Apple Paul, Larry Sam, Apellis Pharmaceutical, they opened up a 90-day positive catalyst watch. Citibank opened up a 90-day positive catalyst watch on that stock. So, yeah, a lot of interesting news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us to start this week?
I'm going to go with Quest Diagnostics, ticker David Grace X-Ray, a DGX, David Grace X-Ray. Listen, earnings are out tomorrow morning. EPS is $2.31. It's a little high. Expected move is 5.89%. Call volume was positive on Friday. Open interest is positive as well. I mean, that's good going into it. Multiple brokers are positive on the stock. The major brokers, they are raising price targets. I do like to see that. I want to get in 145.50 to, maybe 146. I do think the stock's going to open up a little weak this morning, but I do think we're going to start seeing a gain. I mean, I do think there's a good opportunity for a beat here. So I do like it. But the stock, the bid offer is so wide right now, 130 to 151. I think the 130 is way too low. So I do think we're going to see a little run there. I don't want to hold it into earnings. I want to get in and get out, but we'll see how the stock opens this morning. But that's my pick of the day. Quest Diagnostics, ticker DGX, David Grace X-Ray, Emily.
Bill, we will follow Quest Diagnostics along with you this Monday. And coming up, we'll take a look back on Friday and that pick of the day. So stick with us. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
ACN, Apple, Charlie, Nancy, Accenture to acquire Camelot Management Consultants Services, terms not disclosed. Here's McDonald's, ticker MCD. They're going to extend that $5 meal deal, citing customer traffic. So yeah, that's good to see. Let's see what else we got here. Six Flags, ticker FUN. Six Flags Entertainment eliminates guest service surcharge fee at legacy parks. Boeing, Japan Airlines announced agreement for up to 20 more 787 Dreamliners. Ooh, another one. There's an air show going on right now. Tesla, Musk says Tesla will have humanoid robots for internal use in 2025. I see Goldman's out there saying modest pickup in U.S. GDP growth in second half. Krispy Kreme's DNUT, David, Nancy, Uncle Tom, sells majority ownership stake to Insomnia Cookies. Delta says over 3,500 Delta connecting flights canceled through Saturday. Oh, retailer stocks, Alibaba, JD, whatever, they're trading higher as China's PBOC cuts lending rates. Oh, Cigna, CVS, United Healthcare, ticker CI, Charlie Victor Sam, UNH. These guys have to appear before Congress tomorrow to discuss drug pricing. That's not good for these guys. They're the pharmacy benefit managers, and there's a big talk on that one that could get ugly. Ryanair, they're talking about seeing fare weakness. That's not good. But the other airliners came out and kind of said that last week. Berkshire Hathaway sold 33.9 million shares of Bank of America. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into trading on this new week, let's do that check-in on Friday's pick of the day, which was Smartsheet. Now, Bill, you made this pick following some, chatter that the firm had hired some investment bankers because of possible acquisition interest by buyout firms. That was interesting news. If we recall on Friday, it was sort of a messy day with the IT outage and stocks really sank. But you were trading Smartsheet. You were looking for a specific entry point to hope to get a gain from there. How did your call work out?
Friday was a horrible day. Anything you picked, it was going to be wrong. But Smartsheet was trading a little bit differently because you know what? This is a good company, and these guys have hired their investment bankers. A deal seems to be in the works, and honestly, this thing could go north of $60 if the buyout happens shortly. I mean, stock opened up at $48, fell to $47.41, but closed at $48.29. Now, I had said under 48, and you watch the thing in the aftermarket, they traded $48.60. You look at it this morning, 47.70 to 49.91, big wide spread, but it already hit 48.80 this morning, 48.40 this morning, excuse me. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna call it a win because it was positive on the day. Number one, number two, that this trade is still developing because no buyout has been announced. I wasn't expecting this buyout to happen today, but if you look at it and considering the day, you gotta put SMAR in the win column because it was positive and it was a good trade.
Bill, I was just going to say the very same thing. We'll take it as a win, especially on a day like Friday. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Quest Diagnostics pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning this week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.